out there, no dress codes, no invites, no worries at this party. So come join us for a taste of Jamaica.
We welcome you to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where for the third time since 2015, it's the site of the USA Ultimate College National Championships. Semifinal Sunday starts with an incredible matchup in the women's division. Carleton Syzygy and Colorado Quandary. In the quarterfinals earlier this morning, Vermont had an 8-5 halftime lead on Colorado and then an insane 10-0 second half run for Quandary to get them into the semifinals here in Milwaukee yet again. Carleton 15-12 over Abby Hecko and Washington. And here we go. Evan Lepler with Megan Tormey, Ian Toner down in the field in a few. It's so great to be back with you. College Nationals on Memorial Day weekend, how it's meant to be. We usually expect chaos at this event. The lack of chaos has been the story. All the top seeds so far have advanced to the semis.
Yeah, everyone's program has been designed perfectly to peak at this moment. There have been no major upsets. Everyone looking totally primed for the moment that they are enjoying right now.
And hopefully we got some great matchups in store at the business end of this tournament. Let's talk about the two teams we're going to see to start our quadruple header of coverage. Carleton College, no familiar to the Final Four in women's ultimate. They have built a powerhouse behind Courtney Kiso and Logan Weiss. And look, they're in the semis in December in Norco. They're back in the semis behind the great play of Carly Campana.
Yeah, they are a program built on excellence, and they are not disappointing this weekend. Carly Campana, just an absolute spark plug for her offense. 9 goals and a whopping 17 assists this weekend. They are really going to lean on her heavily this game to continue to put up big numbers against the very fierce Colorado.
And how about this Quandary team? The last time we were here in Milwaukee was 2018. Colorado, then known as Collie, went to the finals. They've got similar coaching staff. They've got a few players who are actually on that 2018 team. But they're the only team in the history of college ultimate, I think, that has an Olympian on their roster. And Stacy Gaskill, the snowboard cross star from Beijing over the winter, was unbelievable in the second half against Vermont in the quarterfinals.
Her athleticism was on full display as they went on a 10-0 run to close out the second half. She led with some great defense, and her pulls really put Colorado in prime position. They're going to use her again in a similar way against this Carleton squad to put them in the perfect position to just grind it out defensively.
We've got a wonderful alliterative matchup to begin our semifinal Sunday here in Milwaukee. It's Carleton and Colorado coming up. The 2022 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Discraft, home of the UltraStar, the official disc of USA Ultimate, your place for all your ultimate and disc golf needs. Visit discraft.com. We make flying discs fun. And by Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. We are fired up for a memorable Sunday here in Milwaukee. Look at the starting lineups for Carleton College. Syzygy, that's a look at the O-line that will start the game on offense. Campana, Earhart, Lanier, 3 of the stars for Carleton. Stacy Gaskill leading this Quandary D-line. Look out for Abby Galach, Emma Williamson, and May Hecht. Also Kristen Reed, a dynamic goal scorer for the D-line. Third member of our broadcast team down on the field. Set the stage, Ian Toner.
Thanks so much, Evan. Great to be with you guys here at semifinal Sunday. The last time these two programs met in the 2022 season, Colorado Quandary faced off against Carleton Syzygy in the quarterfinals of Northwest Challenge in late March. Quandary laid a beatdown on Syzygy to the tune of 15-4. And after that game, coaches Logan Weiss and Courtney Kiso said, hey, there was a real flush it or learn from it moment. They were very tempted to just throw the tape away and move on. But they went back and looked at it more closely, and they saw a lot more fundamental good than they expected when they watched the tape back. There were some building blocks that they could move on from. They also remembered just how aggressive Quandary was. So we're going to have to keep an eye on just how aggressive Quandary's downfield defense is throughout this matchup.
Great stuff, Ian. That was May 27th, and that was the last day that either of these teams suffered a loss. Carleton lost to Colorado 15-4, and then to British Columbia in consolation bracket 15-13. Colorado Cali later that day after beating Carleton played North Carolina Pleiades to Universe before falling 15-14. Here we go from College Nationals on semifinal Sunday, and Campana initiates for Carleton. Receiving the first throw from Lanier, and then Lanier called a foul as she was contacted by Colorado's defender Abby Galach. Doesn't look like either side contesting too much, and Carleton will have the disc in this self-officiated game. 4 observers on the field. Stacy Gaskill bouncing around defensively on Aria Kishner. It's hard to overstate just how remarkable the quarterfinal round was for his Colorado team. The craziest part might have been their actions at halftime. Did they look stressed and nervous on the sideline? Not one bit. They were singing and dancing and drinking juice. It was like they were winning 15-0. They were down 8-5 on the verge of elimination, but that's a heck of an offensive start for Carleton. Aria Kishner catches the first goal of the semis.
That has certainly been one of the hallmarks of the Colorado squad, to stay loose and calm throughout it all. But speaking of calm, that was a great offensive possession from Carleton. Something I've seen throughout this weekend is that their offensive squad is not impervious to mistakes, but they were really dialed in and using the entire width of the field as they maneuvered closer and closer to the end zone. One of their leading scorers, Aria Kishner, drawing the tough matchup with Stacy Gaskill, still manages to get open on the break side for a nice, quick, and easy Carleton score.
Well, if Carleton's going to win this game, this is how they want the script to look on offense. This is the recipe. Earhart to Kishner for the goal. And now we'll take a look at this Colorado O-line, which did not see the field in the entire second half of the quarterfinal game against Vermont, Megan. Of course, many of these players saw the field on defense, all of them in fact, but not as an O-line.
Not as an offensive squad, that's correct. 10 straight breaks to the win for Colorado in their game against Vermont.
Unbelievable. Just a couple throws, and it's through the hands of Megan Kenny as she drops the equalizer here early.
They were just a little too casual reaching out for that grab.
Not sure what the defense was doing there. That was too easy, and yet the gift. We'll see if Carleton can take advantage. Their first break chance. Tori Gray, the speedy Seattle native. Ada Wright gets it over to Mia Beeman-Weber. Kenny bouncing on the mark, continue downfield for Lauren Yamasaki-Lisk, and now from midfield, it's Ellie Vandal. Colorado defending, but Carleton on the march. Beeman-Weber directing traffic for Syzygy to the back corner of the end zone. What a shot! Beeman-Weber to Yamasaki-Lisk. And Carleton punishes Colorado for that early mistake.
A confident, boosting break for Carleton. Very patiently working it up the sideline. Rachel Wilmoth really helped lead her team with her defensive effort. 4 breaks in her game against, 4 Ds in that game against Vermont. Was not able to close the distance on that nice put from Beeman Weber.
"19-year-old freshman from San Francisco, Beeman Weber. Sent it to that back pylon. Let's check in with Ian.
Evan, one thing to note about Colorado's offensive flow and structure going into this game, if you haven't seen them compete since the last appearance at the college championships back in December 2021, they've installed a totally new offensive set. On that last O point, we saw them starting in a more horizontal and spread offense as opposed to the vertical set that this program has traditionally run. And on that last O point, everything was looking perfectly smooth, a nice, easy clear-out play to get things started. And the finishing shot was there. It's just a matter of execution to get this offensive structure working.
Second O point and a quick launch. Kleinkopf sends it deep, and Khalil Phillips has had a heck of a tournament. Still a few yards to go for Quandary. And there's the first score of the game for Colorado. Seems pretty obvious, Megan, that Colorado's trying to score quickly. They should have done it on their first point. They do it, and they deliver on their second.
Yeah, something I've noticed about this Colorado squad is they can take a little bit of time to get settled and get in rhythm. In their pool play game against Pittsburgh, they made a few errors to start the game off, but several points in, their offense was firing on all cylinders. Colorado always seems to have extra gears that they can notch themselves into as the game goes on.
Kristen Reed to Kleinkopf. Well, Colorado has had the easier path to semifinals in terms of the margins of victory. Their closest game was a 15-12 victory over Tufts. And they had 3 other games that were 15-8 and one 15-7. You contrast that with Carleton, the first game of the tournament, 15-14 against British Columbia. The Thunderbirds took them to the brink. And then a 15-12 win in the quarters over a Washington Element team, getting a touch of revenge after the elimination in Norco in December. And there is a weird feeling a little bit to this Nationals as we see the crossfield shot floating. Campana got her fingertips on it, but unable to bring it down. That's Carleton's first turnover. Megan, what do you make of the fact that we usually wait a year for college nationals? Of course, the pandemic forced us to wait longer, but we just had college nationals about 5 months ago, December in Norco, California.
I mean, it's been an interesting wrinkle for a lot of different programs. Some programs have lost seniors that were there performing with them at nationals in December, and other teams have a little more continuity, and so they've been able to march their program along. So definitely a different feel, a different flavor this year for that reason.
Out of the reach of Stacey Gaskill. Gelach with the launch. Neither team hesitant to huck early in this game, but that one sails across the sideline and out of bounds. It's been 2 months since either of these teams have suffered a loss. One of them will advance to tomorrow's championship game, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU, and the other will see their championship dreams come to an end here in the semis. There's something very abrupt about elimination always, but especially that first semifinal. And how about the defense on the mark from Campana? Quickly picked up. Earhart to Campana. Roofing over Kristen Reed. It's a goal for Carleton.
How about this swat from Campana? Absolutely denying the swing pass. A quick clap celebration from her before she finds her way into the end zone, earning herself the bookends. Nice put from Earhart to ensure Reed had no shot at a D.
Heck of a sequence for Campana, 22-year-old senior from Kirkland, Washington. Let's take a look at Syzygy's road to the semifinals. 4-0 in pool play, but mentioned some close games, 15-14 over British Columbia. The Virginia game was tight. Hydra pushing Carleton to the brink at 12-10. And then the quarterfinals, after winning their pool, getting that bye. Element had to win a pre-quarter yesterday, but successfully navigated that. That's a low throw and an early error. That looked like it hit the ground,
I thought it did.
Surprised the observers didn't make that call. Well, there's the old disc don't lie moment.
Absolutely.
I'd love to take another look at the replay because we thought that looked down, but we could be mistaken. Beeman Weber picks up. Carleton just looked sharp here early, Megan. Vandal, right on cue, turns it over. Was it up? No.
No, that was definitely down.
Akana Kleinkampf gets it downfield for Emma Capra. Nice leaping snag by Cleo Phillips. Looking long. Megan Kenny is there. Colorado has looked breathtaking in spurts and out of sorts in other moments.
Yeah, that's really well said, Evan. When they are on, they are completely on. As we take another look at this shot. From Phillips to a completely unmarked Megan Kenny. And I think, Evan, that is demonstrative of the kinds of speed and aggression that Colorado can exhibit when necessary. But that same kind of speed can force them to make turnovers, but when all players are in prime position, boy, it clicks beautifully.
Colorado Quandary in Pool B is the 2 seed coming in. A heck of a regular season to earn the 2 seed. Victories over Purdue, Tufts, Pitt, and UC Davis. Tufts game was clearly the closest, and Tufts gave UCSB a battle in the quarterfinals, but the semis are set, and we've got all chalk in both divisions, Megan. North Carolina and UC Santa Barbara finished off British Columbia and Tufts respectively. UC Santa Barbara coming from a first half deficit. I think they were down 7-4 before turning that game around, outscoring Tufts 10-4 down the stretch. And then in the men's division, the second round of quarterfinals this morning also has wrapped with Brown and Pitt. 2 teams that both look like true championship contenders, just thrashing their opponents. Brown winning by 6 over Minnesota Grey Duck. Pittsburgh winning by 8 over California. And an injury taken by Lauren Yamasaki Lisk as she tugged her hamstring there. Let's go down to Ian.
Yeah, we saw that happening as play was unfolding. Yamasaki Lisk was just clearing out, also potentially setting up a deep cut, and in the middle of a traditional sprint, just started reaching to the back of her right leg. Can't speculate too much. We've seen many players sustain hamstring injuries when they display symptoms like that. As someone who's dealt with those injuries time and time again, just most inopportune moment for that to occur.
Yeah, certainly unfortunate. Hopefully she can loosen that up. Ian, what's the wind like down in the field right now?
It feels like Carleton's offense is working mostly upwind, but it's slightly diagonal as we see Carleton score there.
Yeah, Campana with her second score, and it's a 4-2 lead for Syzygy.
Carleton has picked the perfect time to get their offensive motion firing with the speed and precision that we have seen so far this game. I mean, the timing and the spacing of the cuts, just so clinical.
The timing and spacing of the cuts, also the throws. I mean, they have been on the money as well. And you see the injury there, Yamasaki Lisk, as Campana was pivoting. So Carleton's up a break. They took a 2-0 lead before Colorado converted. Think Colorado can play from behind?
Maybe they want more of a deficit before they turn it on.
So watching Vermont in that first half, I was over there for most of that game. It was staggering to see what Kennedy McCarthy and Emily Posey and the rest of that Vermont Ruckus team was doing. Like, we certainly know that Vermont Ultimate is on the rise, and there are many reasons for that. And it was like, is this their moment? Are they going to get the better? It felt like they were until 10 straight breaks. That game began with a Callahan, too. Vermont took a 1-0 lead on a Callahan. Deep shot here, deflected, and it's incomplete. Off the hands of Emma Courtright. Beeman Weber has been the quarterback. And that reset, incomplete. Phillips might have got a piece of that reset too defensively. So Colorado has the disc just a couple yards out. And that's too easy. So a missed break chance, another assist for Abby Galach, the freshman from Boulder who made the USA U20 team. And Kristen Reed, who led all of club nationals in goals last fall. Still scoring goals at the college level too, the 26-year-old grad student from the UK.
When you're good, you're good. You find your way into the end zone with just about any team. There you see how Reed is just so easily able to step in front of her defender, get wide open for her team.
Kristen Reed, one of the 8 graduate students on this Colorado squad. Of course, you contrast that with Carleton, that is a college, not a university, doesn't have a graduate program. So that's an advantage for Colorado in terms of collective age of their team. And Rachel Wilmoth is 30 years old. She still has another year of eligibility, by the way. 2018, when Nationals was last in Milwaukee, was her first time playing college ultimate. She started playing league in Boulder in 2016. Been a huge player for this team, but Reed, another one of those grad students. Obviously, Stacey Gaskill. She's just a junior, and she's got the pick here. And a fumble in the backfield by Liana Bradley. Uncharacteristic turnovers in this game for both teams at times. Campana, did she put enough float on it? No! It's incomplete. Might have had enough float, but Forster unable to make the catch in the end zone.
I mean, Forster gets down, gets her hands under it, but you notice she doesn't line up her palms and basically flips it out of her own hands as she comes into contact with the ground.
Catch you'd expect her to make. Another quick shot downfield. It's Gaskill on the receiving end from Capra. Gaskill drops the hammer, and it's deflected and incomplete again. I mean, this is not an easy catch, Megan, but I think you can call it another end zone drop. So officially the longest point of the half so far in terms of turns. Power position. Earhart sending it deep, and that one misread slightly by Forster. Knocked down by Quandary. Back and forth we go here on the 8th point of this first women's semifinal.
And if I can be honest, Evan, I really think Colorado is fine with that style of game. It's one that works less effectively for Carleton.
A laser from Gaskill is perfect. Britta Bergstrom on the receiving end. The 7th year University of Colorado receiver, Britta Bergstrom, has the goal.
As Carleton notches up the mistakes, their offense becomes a little more impervious to errant throws and decisions. On the flip side, the more possessions that seem to take place, the better Colorado seems to get.
Heck of a throw from Stacey Gaskill. And a timeout taken by Carleton. Britta Bergstrom scored the goal, and this is a really deep Colorado team, but anytime there's an Olympian on an ultimate roster, I mean, it's clearly the headline. It was so much fun watching Stacey in the snowboard cross event representing USA in Beijing, and she has said she has the dream of becoming the first person to represent the USA in the Winter Olympics and the Summer Olympics, hoping that 2028 LA Ultimate could be there for her. I mean, she's halfway there. She's in the Winter Olympics already. She also has some of the best pulls I've seen at this tournament in either division.
No kidding. I mean, for an offensive squad, it is exhausting to continuously find yourself having to get out of the opposing team's end zone, especially with the likes of Wilmoth and Gaskill busting down the field to stop your movement.
Gaskill to launch after the Colorado break tied it up. One break apiece so far in this semifinal. Later on today, we'll see North Carolina and UC Santa Barbara in a rematch of one of the semifinals that we saw in California in December. North Carolina, the champions in December in both men's and women's college ultimate. Deep shot, Campana can't get there. A little bit too much on that throw from Lanier. That's the 4th turnover of the last couple points for Carleton. After only 3 turns, the first 7 points of the game. Gaskill the first cut. and lets it rip. A beauty. Shy of the end zone, Kristen Reed takes the reset for Phillips. Colorado closing in on its first lead here in the semifinals. They never led Vermont in the first half in the quarters before that crazy 10-break run. Stall count rising on Phillips. She gets the reset across. And a swing and a score, and Colorado Quandry's in front. That's 3 goals in a row, back-to-back breaks.
So before this game, Stacey Gaskill spent a solid 10 to 15 minutes just practicing upwind pulls. And granted, the pulling situation is a little different than hucking upwind. But she was working on her backhands, she was working on her flicks, she was calibrating exactly how much power and angle and touch she needed to execute these throws in the wind. And you can see with that key huck that set up this goal for Colorado, that preparation paying off right there.
Gillatch to Reed for the goal after the Gaskill huck. Stacey, I believe, finished 7th in the women's snowboard cross. Her teammate Lindsay Jacob Ellis won the gold. So take a look at the break chances. Back-to-back breaks for Colorado. Started 0 for 4, but have picked it up. All right, let's see if Carleton can respond. Colorado has certainly ratcheted up the defensive pressure, Meagles. Gaskill, the footsteps, but a clean catch for Carleton's Fridkin. Nice diving snag by Kate Lanier. And a round throw might have been partially deflected, but to continue. Allegra Johnson-McKee gets it to Earhart. Melissa Earhart from North Carolina. Of course, we thought we were going to get Carleton-UNC in the finals in December. That didn't happen. Washington spoiled that party, and Colorado might spoil it this time. There's a foul called. Nori Catalano, the Seattle native. Did she get it cleanly? Not sure who's going to have the disc, but Catalano steps off the field. Wong, Tinney, Kudo, and Hamaker, the orange-shirted observers.
Are you coming in? So it's over here? Sorry, did you kick her in the head? Or who contacted her?
I mean, I was the first right.
No, I know. Where the contact occurred, so yeah. So the injury, okay.
Never a question you want to hear in the ultimate field. Did you kick her in the head?
Certainly hope that Catalano is okay.
But it will be a turn. And Colorado with a chance to score its 4th straight goal. Gaskill with a one-handed snag. Downfield for Phillips. Shooting it. End zone. Quandry can't convert. Bergstrom unable to bring it in for Colorado. So Carleton begins the 70-yard march the other way. And they don't get that far. They look so crisp these first few points of the game.
You know, they really did. And this is the Carleton that I saw in their quarterfinal game against Washington Element, also known for putting on some really fiery defense.
How about that shot? Gaskill had it go off her outstretched arm.
Just a little too much sauce on that throw from Phillips. Just rips it. A little more touch and that would have been a catch. But Carleton, when they're able to maintain their rhythm, look so clean, so crisp. When the defense tightens down and takes away the waterfall motion that they typically like to make, we see errors like that as players just aren't quite looking down the lane and noticing those defensive poaches, those defensive players who take the disc away.
Gaskill on the doorstep again. The Olympian with a high release, lefty backhand over the defender. And into the hands of Akana Kleinkamp for Colorado.
Pollock clearly looking for a different shape on the throw. And Gaskill looking all too perfect on that throw to Kleinkamp.
And a perfect throw there for Gaskill. Just celebrated her 22nd birthday 8 days ago. And we are seeing the best of Colorado in this stretch. Only thing that's a touch surprising is Gaskill isn't staying out there to launch this next pull for the Quandary D-line. Claire Chastain, the former Callahan winner, now coaching Colorado. I mean, she articulated about how they knew that this Colorado team has had talent for a long time, but it took some time for the Quandary players to really believe that they were at this top level. But now I think they do believe, and it kind of started 2 months ago at Northwest Challenge when they thrashed Carleton by 11, when they played the defending champion North Carolina Pleiades team to a 15-14 Universe point loss.
And that's one of the really cool things that happens in the college division is young players start to realize their potential. You know, we talk a lot about Gaskill, we talk a lot about Wilmot. But Colorado really does have some solid depth to their roster.
Capper was there, but Mia Beeman-Weber didn't get the block, but the presence of the defender was the difference. Double layout. Campana makes the catch with Kristen Reed right beside her. Floater, and it's out of the reach of Lily Hurtubise. Campana just went down, and this does not look great. The Carleton superstar shaken up on the field. She is up on her feet, started to try and hobble off herself, and then realized she needed some help. Really the thing that you most hate to see.
Yeah.
Syzygy's leader in assists for the tournament. Obviously has scored her fair share of goals as well. Hopefully, she'll be able to return. We shall see. Colorado another chance here. And heck of a defensive play by Tori Gray. I mean, I'm done being surprised by things that Tori Gray does. I mean, we've seen it playing for Seattle Mixtape in the club mixed division, coming to Carleton, just speedy and shifty and experience that belies her age.
Now that is fair. She is athletic and has a great mind for the game.
And a good backhand there to get Carleton off the schneid. After the 4-0 Colorado run, Carleton is back within one on the strong play by Tori Gray, the D and the dime.
Did Gray get a piece of that?
Yeah, I think she did.
Great point for Tori Gray.
Dishing the score to Ellie Vandell. Vandell, the junior from Salt Lake City. We're going to be seeing more and more players in the business end of college nationals from the state of Utah. Both in the men's and women's division. Their youth scene is bubbling. And look, Seattle set the standard for so long. And now we talk about the North Carolina Triangle, and obviously Massachusetts is known for its youth ultimate. The Twin Cities in Minnesota have produced a lot of great players. It's cool to watch the different communities strive to emulate the best programs from the previous decade, and in a lot of cases we've seen YCC champions from a lot of uncharacteristic ultimate havens. Louisiana and Maine, and obviously DC has been good for a long time.
And we are all the better for it. It is so cool to come to college nationals.
How about that catch?
Oh my goodness!
What a snag for Kenny. And she is in the end zone. Megan Kenny has the goal for Quandra to make it 7-5.
Sliding catch from Reed. And that great effort. Oh.
Shaken up.
Yeah, you see they hit their head as they made that grab.
Another good throw from Abby Galach. We talked about the experience and all the grad students. Galach, a 19-year-old freshman, Megan, with her third assist. And right now, the concern for Megan Kenny, one of those graduate students, came to Boulder from the East Coast. Kenny's from Virginia. Athletic trainers will take a look at Megan Kenny, who's got 2 goals so far in the game. And that is the Colorado lead after trailing 2-0 early. Stacey Gaskell back out there, ready to pull. One more thing about Gaskell. She had the greatest kick spike I've ever seen in my life in the quarterfinals against Vermont. Seriously, Ultiworld was filming that game. It wasn't streamed, but the point that made it, I think, 8-7 in the second half. Colorado was still down at the time, but it was their second break of the half, and it was like a rocket ship. She punted it, and I need to see it like 50 more times. Open receiver deep for Carleton. Emma Chin has the goal.
A great and much needed hold from Carleton.
The first turnover-free hold since the goal that made it 4-2, and Carleton was still up in this game.
Yeah, and you see how much they just love working it on the open side. And when they're able to get ahead of their defender on the open side, good things happen for Carleton. Things are just spaced out so nicely. Of course, you throw in that great throw from Lanier. Certainly doesn't hurt the situation.
No. That was well done by Kate Lanier, a senior from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I think she's got a bunch of friends on the Pleiades team. Chin, that was not Stacey Gaskell level on the punt spike. The crew pointing out that there's a little something to be done there.
Well, we did hear from the Colorado coaching staff that they spent some time in their last practice before nationals practicing their kick spikes. So don't try and do it cold, ladies and gentlemen.
Megan, I don't know about you. When I was playing, punt spikes after scores really weren't a thing. I do remember coming to nationals in 2013 and watching the footage from 2012. That Pittsburgh men's team, led by Tyler DiGirolamo, really utilized the punt spikes a lot after scores, and they scored a lot.
Yeah. Well, I will remind you that I am still playing, but at the beginning of my career, I will agree they were significantly less frequent than they are now.
Beeman Weber had her shot intercepted by Cy Lostra. Heck of a grab there, and then the throw just too far behind Reed. Only mistake I can remember Abby Galach making.
Might be a bit of conservation of greatness considering the fantastic snag she had to get that disc to start with.
Tori Gray right near the sideline for Carleton. It was more of a huck and hope than an open receiver deep. And a good block for Colorado. Lostra, the grad student from Portland. And now Colorado shooting it long again. And there's the fourth turnover of the point. At 7-6 in this first half, Colorado had a chance to break, and then they'll receive to start the second half. Heck of a cut there, set up nicely by Ada Wright. Back to Kate Lanier. Carleton, in these situations, just relies on Carly Campana so much. Gray throws up a jump ball. And Colorado has the answer defensively. Emma Courtright there for the block. Just an unnecessary shot right there.
Yeah, and one that Courtright was more than poised to take away.
And Colorado trying to get it all back quick, and now they are in the red zone looking to take half. Yikes. That was tight, but it worked. And Colorado, after trailing 4-2, takes half 8-6. A good grab from Rachel Wilmoth, although Tori Gray took the worst of it, and she's a little shaken up after the play.
Yeah, you'll notice the contact. Oh, here's the Courtright D. Courtright sized it up and kept Carleton at her back. Who watches Wilmoth sets up her cut, coming around the stack from behind. Gray and Wilmoth colliding after the catch.
So 8-6, Colorado leads at halftime. Let's go down to the field with Ian.
Thanks so much, Evan. Logan, any updates that you can share with us on Lauren or Carly's health and their ability to return in the second half?
I think it's like a little bit still to be determined. I think, I don't know, like Lauren's hamstring's bothering her. That's a pre-existing injury she's been playing through, and so it seems unlikely that she'll be back, but TBD, magic things happen when you're a senior in college. But obviously we're not trying to get her to push through anything, but I think she's probably out. I'm not totally sure what happened to Carly, whether it was a tear or a cramp, and so obviously what happened there is going to inform whether she's going to be able to play or not.
You've been in college championships situations several times before. You've won a college championship as a player. What's it going to take to mount to come back here in the second half?
I mean, I think it's a mix of taking every point as it comes. We're getting chances, as you can see, and just making sure that we're making the most of those. I think we're maybe a little bit more flustered than we need to be with the disc, whether that's like those injuries are changing our lineups a little bit, or maybe there's a little bit of wind, but I think there's some moments where we're making some choices that we could make a little bit of a different choice there. So probably just changing our choices in those moments. And that said, I think it's like, as much as we're talking about winning, it's really about a celebration of this college team that is ending this weekend and making sure that those folks are having like best, most enjoyable experiences they possibly can. And so I think, particularly with those injuries in mind, I think while we're focused on winning and competing, I think that team experience is the thing that I'm thinking about more in this moment than really like the score or the outcome of the game.
Well said. Don't let me keep you from the halftime huddle any longer. Thanks for your time, Logan.
Yeah, thank you.
Evan and Megan, back up to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Logan Weiss, a part of the Carleton men's team. Carleton men won championships 2009 over Colorado, 2011 over Wisconsin. It's been since the year 2000 since Syzygy celebrated a title. They're down 2 at the half.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
and even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we just play ultimate. We live ultimate.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change. around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young.
And still a perfect circle.
Of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network.
Before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias.
And understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Well, it's a dance party on the sideline. That's no surprise in the women's division of College Ultimate. Colorado has an 8-6 first half lead on Carleton as we begin this quadruple header of Saturday semifinals. The top 4 seeds in both divisions making it to the semis. The first time in the ESPN era since 2013 that's happened. Carleton got off to such a good start in this first half, Megan. It was really impressive to see.
So clean, so crisp, really appearing as though they had ironed out all of the wrinkles that this tournament had exposed and were just clicking beautifully. And then we saw Colorado start to notch on some pressure. As we see some of the pressure that Campana put on before she went out with an injury. That's bookends for Campana. But the tide started to turn once Colorado put on that defensive pressure. They've been able to stretch the field convincingly, making it difficult for Carleton to catch up and get the breaks necessary to tighten up the 2-point gap. Gaskill, of course, has been absolutely on fire. One turn very early in this game, and she has been absolutely perfect since then. Kristen Reed having herself a game too. I don't know. Colorado really seems to enjoy just a little bit of adversity, and then from there, they just absolutely explode.
Yeah, when this Colorado team gets into its top gear, I mean, maybe they're up there with only North Carolina in the women's division.
The first half has convinced me of that. I mean, they have just been absolutely spectacular. Carleton certainly showing that they're not going to go down without a fight. They're going to have to do a little bit more to upset Colorado. Just been working flawlessly.
Yeah, Quandary loves that deep ball. We saw that a bunch in the first half. Carleton was assessed a blue card for that contact at the end of that play, and did see a few players go down, unfortunately, in that first half. Hopefully everybody will be all right, but we got the update from Logan Weiss. Lauren Yamasaki-Lisk unlikely to return with a hamstring, and still awaiting word. Hopefully just a cramp, and we see Campana in the second half. There's no question Carleton needs her. 8-6 Colorado at the half.
Most people just see a disc. At Discraft, we see over 40 years of innovation, driven by passion, consistency that inspires talent, built on a foundation, designed for success. Over 4 decades of experience behind your first throw.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation. Like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops. Like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
Most people just see a disc. At Discraft, we see over 40 years of innovation, driven by passion, consistency that inspires talent, built on a foundation designed for success. Over 4 decades of experience behind your first throw.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, halftime at semifinal Sunday. Colorado Quandary with an 8-6 lead on Carleton Syzygy. Ian Toner joined by Bailey Shigley. Bailey, Quandary went down 2-0 in this game and then an 8-4 run to take half. Not the only time this team's mounted a comeback in the bracket. Where does that comeback ability come from?
I think absolutely from our defense. We're just really firing this tournament. Our defense is on that plays into our offense. Our offense is able to work off that energy and just be really gritty. Our team's all about grit and just love for each other.
So we saw a lot of dancing over there on the sidelines, but was there any kind of serious strategic emphasis in the halftime huddle?
Yeah, right before half, we kind of talked about how we just need to keep up the energy we brought into the second half of the first half and just not letting up. But nothing super strategic, mostly just having fun, being out here with each other. This is an awesome moment, yeah.
You were the victim of an unfortunate ACL injury that's limiting your ability to contribute on the field, but you've transitioned your role to contributing in a coaching capacity. How does it feel to still be adding value in that way to Quandary's success?
It feels awesome. I definitely took some time off the first half of this season because it was really hard to be around the team, not be able to play. But coming back and having a role I call the matchups for every game and being able to play teams like Carleton where I've grown up playing with these players and playing on high school and worlds teams with them, being able to contribute my knowledge of the competition pool has been awesome and really kept me up this tournament and the whole season.
Well, Bailey, thanks so much for your time. I think you got to go pick your matchups for the start of the second half. One more half here in the first semifinal here in Milwaukee. Stay with us.
Here's a look at the scoring summary. Colorado Quandary getting 2 goals apiece from Reed, Kleinkampf, and Kenny. And it's a 2-goal lead for Quandary as they will receive the pull from Beeman Weber to begin this second half. Let's go down to Ian for a quick injury update.
Evan, I just heard from Quandary coach Christina Mickle that Megan Kenny will not be returning to this game after sustaining a concussion.
That's not good news. Hope Kenny will be all right. That shot is gonna float just a little too far out of the reach of Cleo Phillips. Wow.
For a split second, I thought she had that.
A slight stumble.
What an effort from Phillips.
That disc bobbled, but hung on to. A throw from Beeman Weber out of the reach of Ellie Vandal. Kleinkampf Feeds it to Reed. And another one through the hands of a receiver in the end zone. What's going on? Beeman Weber just floats it over the stack. The jump ball lands incomplete. I don't want to speak to Colorado's offensive system, Megan, because they admit they change frequently. I mean, the constant about their team is that nothing is constant. But Carleton's offense seems out of sorts, and the loss of Carly Campana is something you can point to.
That is certainly the case. They have really developed into a disciplined, rhythmic sort of offense. And their team does play great defense. They do get it back, but they have not been able to find the kind of rhythm and cadence that they seem to function so well in.
Quick swing from Beeman Weber. Vandal into the teeth of the stack, converts it. Ava Fisher back to Mia Beeman Weber. And now a touch for Ali Fridkin. And the points, 6th turnover. First point of the second half. Bottled but hung on to this time. Phillips shooting it. End zone. Incomplete.
A little bit surprised that Colorado is not connecting here to start out the second half. In general, I really think that they're fine taking slightly riskier shots to get the point going. They don't mind playing scrappy defense and getting the ball back. But usually, once they establish a clean, quick break, they seem to settle in a little sooner, a little more confidently than they have so far.
No foul on that throw, another floater. I mean, there's certainly a Molly Brown feel in a lot of different ways to this Colorado Quandary squad. Looking for it all again, and this time it works. Their 5th opportunity to hold on the point, and a beautiful hammer dropped by Abby Galach to make it 9-6.
Attempting to break the mark. Wright floats that up way too high. Maybe Colorado just wanted something a little bit more difficult. Galach dropping a hammer to finally put one on the board for Colorado.
And it's Kristen Reed in the end zone, scoring for Colorado for the 3rd time in the game. Looking at the Carleton O-line that's on the field, still no sign of Campana. Shanti Cheer is out there. Not one of the O-line starters. The other familiar names like Kishner and Chin, Lanier, Allegra Johnson-McKee gets an opportunity here on offense. Megan Cleel Phillips and Kate Lanier were high school teammates in Chapel Hill, now going against one another in the semis at College Nationals. Carleton on the doorstep quickly. Earhart, low throw. Colorado says it was down.
We need a check, we need a check!
Good call by
That
the
was the
defender
right
and
call.
the observers. Looking for Gaskill deep, but not enough on that throw. Easily intercepted by Johnson McKee. And we're just not seeing the execution that Carleton's going to need if they're going to come back against a team as dynamic as Colorado. There was a play there to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to increase their execution on the break side. They've got to use that to their advantage to try and get the defense, the stack, to pull over again.
A snag there by May Hecht. Bergstrom trying to reset for Hecht, turns it over. So again, Carleton will pick up within about 10 yards of the goal line. Lanier floats it to the end zone and cannot connect with Arya Kishner.
I mean, they set that play up really nicely. They have their top receiver in Kishner in the end zone in an isolation. It was a great mark from Capra, nice and flat. But Carleton has to be able to work around those, step around those marks.
Stacey Gaskill unleashing a gigantic backhand, and it's through the hands of her receiver. Goodness. Annie Gahagan could not come up with it. The 6th turn of this point. And there's the 7th, unless Emma Chin truly got there first, but no, she's gonna give the disc. Defender got there first. Gaskill reads it well, but then dropped it again. Can we change the Frisbee?
At this point, I'm willing to give it a try. It's a surprising mistake from Gaskill, who clearly was keeping an eye on the sideline. She had plenty of space.
Another big backhand, but just a little out of sync right now. Everyone is. I mean, these kind of points, you're playing offense, you're playing defense. I mean, Ultimate is created to go back and forth, but these points when you can't take a sub, you can think maybe Colorado could take a timeout. We haven't seen them do that yet in the game. I'm not sure they want to slow the game down. They feel they have the depth advantage. But right now, everybody could use a breather.
Yeah, with this many turnovers and this many just blatant errors from players on both sides. Yeah, it would be a good idea to give everyone a break, get a drink of water, and get resettled.
Carleton has had a bunch of opportunities in the red zone. Johnson McKee takes the reset for Lanier. And Colorado still playing really strong defense downfield. And the reset goes awry. And there's a timeout. May Hecht will let everyone take a deep breath. with a score 9-6 in Colorado's favor. And what do you make of these 2 points so far in the second half, Megan? There were 8 turnovers before Colorado's hold, and we've seen 11 turnovers on this particular point. Still looking for one of these two teams to punch it in.
I mean, honestly, I'm a little bit more surprised by Colorado's performance coming into the second half. I thought they were looking as though they were ready to enter the gear that we saw them in when they closed out their game against Vermont. Carleton really has struggled to establish a consistent offensive rhythm in this game. So the mistakes we're seeing from them kind of characteristic of the way they can be pulled out of the way they like to play this game. But Colorado just not connecting in ways that they had been connecting just before the break. Hopefully this timeout will allow both squads to set a game plan and then stick to it.
Coming to the tournament, Colorado was the 2 seed overall, but they were not a semifinalist in December. They had high hopes in December and did not play their best. I believe they were eliminated by UC San Diego in the pre-quarters, if I want to say I'm remembering correctly. So I'm curious, what were your expectations of Colorado coming into this May Nationals? Did you think, I mean, obviously their regular season resume puts them in the 2 seed, as we see a quick turn on the reset, although there may be a call. Casco making sure Johnson McKee's okay, and it'll be Carleton's disc. Really, I'm trying to ask you how your belief in Quandary has grown as this tournament has gone on.
Well, I've been really surprised to see how they've been able to put together systems that they can lean into. I knew that they had some really fantastic players and was expecting strong individual performances, but I like the way that I am seeing the coaching really play out and the way they function as a team and run their sets and work as a unit defensively. So definitely far more of a unified performance from Colorado than I was expecting. Still was sure they were going to be strong, but I thought it was going to come down to more individual performances.
Carleton finally converts. And after that marathon point, it's a 9-7 game. But hang on a second. Apparently, the observers ruled her not in the end zone, so we don't have a goal quite yet. Observers make active in or out calls. And Kishner ruled not in on the first point of contact.
Yeah.
Did she still have that back foot down when she got possession?
Watching it again, I don't. Okay.
No, they did not give her the goal. They say that she put the disc down and they ruled that a turnover. So now Colorado has the disc. That's one of those ultimate calls that I have long had an issue with. I mean, the play was stopped. Maybe she thought she scored. She put the disc down and it was ruled a turn. That's not in the spirit of the game.
That's true, but you do have to wait for the officials to signal the score.
I don't know how we can slow that down, but that looked like a goal.
That did look like a goal, but the observer, Steve Wong, was saying not in, not in. You must check in with the observer.
In that time, Lanier to Chin. And finally, Carleton is back within 2.
Well, we can be thankful it won't come down to this moment, but let's take one more look. That is the score that does count in their favor, and here's the one that was ruled not in.
That's so close.
Yeah.
Does she have possession with that foot still down? Because if she does, it's a straddle. And you know what?
I think it was the right call to say not in. It looked like that back leg was still down when she stopped possession of the disc.
Stay with it. She puts the disc down, and that's ruled a turnover.
Which is correct because you can't see from this angle. but the observer was very clearly indicating that that did not count as a goal, did not count as a goal. He moved his hand in the not in direction twice. Aria clearly and understandably upset from that sequence of events.
And yet Carleton did score. I mean, Carleton got a break on Colorado's very first point of the game. And they haven't gotten any since. Let's check in with Ian down on the sidelines.
I've been just listening in to some of these Colorado Quandary conversations after that point. They're ecstatic about the fact that the Carleton Syzygy had to expend so much energy.
Oh goodness, what a great catch on the second effort by Emma Courtright. And you're right, Ian, I mean, they did expend so much energy. Not sure how they felt about the 7 missed break opportunities that they had. But how about this conversion? Maybe not exactly how you draw it up, Meagles.
Why not give Courtright a little bit for the highlight reel?
Not an easy catch on that second effort.
Love how
tumbling down.
Courtright did not take their eyes off the disc. Even as they came down to the knee, Courtright turned around, kept the arms outstretched. That was awesome. And such a stark contrast to the previous point that took I don't know how long. Colorado answers back so incredibly quickly.
So Kristen Reed involved in half of Colorado's scores in this game. Timeout was taken by Carleton. Logan Weiss and Courtney Kiso bringing their whole team together. Carly Campana is in that huddle, but she got over there a little late. She was kind of hobbling over. Certainly not looking like we're going to see her again. Hope I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, in a game where offensive precision is sorely needed, I'm sure Carleton would feel much better having their anchor handler back out on the field. What a loss for Carleton if she does not return to this game.
Campana with ice on that back leg. Not ideal. I mean, the fact is, College Nationals is just a ridiculous grind. I mean, multiple games on Friday, 2, maybe 3 games on Saturday, and every point of every one of these games, when you're out in the field, can feel so monumental. And we've seen over the past decade some really big injuries. Some teams overcome. Minnesota men won a championship. Brian Osgaard didn't play in the finals. Others, I mean, when Evie Hecko went down for Washington in December, it was disappointing for Element and all Ultimate fans.
Yeah, as you said, it can be a huge moment for other players on the field to step up and be the linchpin the team needs. But it is so sad to see stars go down at College Nationals.
Bobbled and hung on to there. Earhart shooting it deep. Chin open. Beautifully done.
That was picture perfect from Carleton. Oh, great cut.
Yeah. Set it up well against Galach.
Just a great cut from Chin. That was a spectacular angle of it, too. Starts cutting in, recognizes a little stutter step can get her some separation deep. She takes that opportunity.
Megan, how do you feel about the head spike of the disc?
I mean, it's a little less thrilling than a soaring kick spike, but a little more certain in terms of what you can execute.
Three assists for Alyssa Earhart. I don't know about you, like it feels Colorado is in firm control and up by a bundle, but it's just a 2-goal game.
That's true. If the last point from Carleton is any indication, we have not seen the end of them yet, but they're going to need to string together more holds and then notch some breaks. We'll see if this is one of their opportunities for them.
Colorado looking to get back to the final. They did it on this field in 2018, ultimately losing to Dartmouth. That super team, one of the 2 titles for Dartmouth College back-to-back years. That's beautiful offense from Colorado Quandary. And it's 11-8.
Wilmoth. The assist goes to Wilmoth, but it was really Galach's throw that wrapped around all of the defense that set up that play.
And before the around, it was a tight space squeeze by Cleo Phillips.
Great point. From sideline to sideline.
It's almost as if the person who gets the assist and the person that scores the goal may not be the most important players on that particular coin. Quandary back up by 3. Let's go down to Ian.
Evan, before the tournament, we checked in with Courtney Kiesau and Logan Weiss and asked about Syzygy's identity and culture and when it feels most comfortable. And they described their group as a team that's thriving when it's silly and acting like, for more or less, a bunch of goobers. And we saw a lot of that energy throughout the first half of this game, and even at halftime. Despite sustaining those injuries, they were still having dance parties on the sidelines. But you can feel it here on the sidelines now, deeper into the second half. That silly energy is gone, and it's started to transform into nervous energy here in the second half.
That's a great observation. I mean, we saw that silliness at halftime of the Colorado quarterfinal when they were down 8-5. Carleton certainly doesn't have the copyright on goofiness on the sidelines in College Ultimate. Chin has an open teammate. It's Bree Forster. So Megan, after we saw a combined 22 turnovers on the first 2 points of the second half, that's 4 straight clean offensive holds, 2 apiece for Carleton and Colorado.
I am super curious to know what was said in the Carleton huddle when they took a timeout, because we have seen 2 incredibly beautiful offensive points since then.
Emma Chin, the junior from New York City, has been impressive.
And just the confidence she was able to release that throw with, because Forster's cut was at the appropriate angle and timed so that there was no defender in sight. I mean, it wasn't a contest at all the way that we saw coming out of the second half. They were just having to throw into coverage, hoping for the best. So much more relaxed at that point.
So back to a 2-goal game, but Colorado sits 4 goals away from the finals. Colorado Women's Ultimate has never won a national title. Colorado men's team has a couple championships. Deep shot. Phillips unable to make the play, and what a defensive effort by a tumbling Tori Gray. And she is shaken up again. heck of a landing.
I can see the argument for the foul with Gray's left arm pushing down on Phillips' right arm.
We're going to send that back as a. So they're going to send it back, it looks like. It's going back to the thrower.
The disc was right around here.
We're sending it back as a foul contest.
One more look. You said you could see the argument. Can you be more declarative one way or the other?
Well, the thing I love about Ultimate is if you can't get to an agreed upon consensus, you can send it back.
The old school elementary do-over. And Colorado comes up empty on that possession. So look, Carleton, for all the adversity they've experienced in this game, if they can score here, they've got the disc. It's a one-goal game, and it's truly up for grabs. Great defense by Colorado, just forcing the punt and taken care of by Rachel Wilmoth. 30-year-old grad student from Vancouver, Washington, Wilmoth. Not the oldest player in the women's division. UC Santa Barbara has a 31-year-old. We'll see Terry Dressler, 31-year-old grad student in the second women's semifinal later today. By the way, it is Callahan Day
Taking an injury?
at Nationals.
All right, we're calling it in. We're also calling an injury substitution.
There, her hand landed out. That looked like she was out. Heck of an effort, though. And Phillips shaken up. Gaskill into the game. And we get a stoppage, a pick downfield. The Women's Callahan Award will be announced at halftime of the first men's semifinal as Gaskill unleashes a low laser, and Kristen Reed, absorbing the contact, hangs on for the score. Are you kidding me?
Reed is having herself a game today. I mean, she is so capable at getting wide open that very frequently her scores look almost lackadaisical. But here showing that she'll withstand both ground contact and contact from the opposing player's foot on her head. Still hold on to that score.
What's going on here? Not the first kick to the head we've had in the game.
That is no good.
It's non-contact sport. Wow. Women's Callahan Award will be announced at halftime of the first men's semifinal, and then the Men's Callahan Award for 2022 will be announced during the second women's semifinal. The finalists for the Women's Callahan Award, players from Northeastern North Carolina, UC San Diego, Georgia, and Washington. I'm not sure who's going to win. in Women's Callahan this year. Feels pretty wide open. Of course, the voting's already been done, so they know who the winner is. A few folks at USA Ultimate have been very tight-lipped. How about that defense? Off the missed catch from Chin. Liana Bradley makes sure that there will be no second effort snag. Gaskill just taking charge. Over the stack, into the end zone. That will work. And Colorado is closing in as Britta Bergstrom scores again. First break of the second half for Colorado.
The turnover and the swat down from Bradley. Bergstrom knows she can get it. It's just going to require a little bit of a dig to make sure.
So Megan, let's imagine you're a college coach and you're getting ready to play against Colorado. What do you try to do with Stacey Gaskill?
Goodness, that is a good question.
I mean, theoretically, she's so much bigger and stronger. You want her to be a thrower as opposed to a receiver, but she's showing a dangerous propensity to be a quarterback as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, if she continues to be on defense, you're not have as much of a choice what you do with her. But certainly, you're going to want to put your best marker on her. Someone who could potentially limit her throwing prowess when she has the disc.
Look at this pull. Sailing toward the reverse brick mark in that Carleton end zone. Chin could not make the catch, and Colorado with a chance to get within one score of the finals. Gaskill initiates. I love how Claire Chastain said she just changes the shape of the field when she's out there on defense, especially if she's in the deep space. The opponents don't have that same shape of the field. I mean,
no,
literally.
I mean, that is absolutely true. If she's out there, if she's in the deep space, you are going to have to change the way you play offense because she's taking away an enormous chunk of the field.
Carleton's had a couple easy scores in this game, but for the most part, they've really had to earn it. And again, their star, Carly Campana, going down in the first half. This one floated into the end zone, but ripped away by Emma Williamson. Another young player out of the North Carolina Triangle. Gaskill has it going deep. Waiting for some help. Directing traffic. And yikes. Galatch just stopped cutting, and the defender was there for the open side reception like she was the receiver. Difficult throw. Great poach. Allegra Johnson-McKee read that play.
That was some smart defense from Carleton. Allowing some switches so that no one had to follow Gaskill. That freed up McKee for that D.
The grind continues, and Carleton is in to make it 13-10.
You know, I feel like the last couple of points, this one in particular, is perhaps the best I've seen Carleton work with very tight margins. For the most part, when their cutters have been wide open, they've been fine. But when they've had to work tight against the sideline, they haven't done so well. That particular possession, they managed the pressure just a little bit better. And I have to think that the coaching staff, rewatching this tape, will again find so many things to be proud of with this Carleton squad. Undoubtedly huge growth from the last time they played Colorado.
It was 15-4, so this is a very different feel to the game at 13-10. It's going to be a Colorado feel to the first half of our quadruple header today. And a very North Carolina feel to the middle portion. Deep shot going up, and nice snag. It's Wilmoth. Near the front pylon, Colorado is in. Another one for Kristen Reed.
Well, Wilmoth really didn't have a ton of steps on her defender, but Reed clearly had plenty of faith before she put the long put up. Here we see Reed receiving the disc, seeing Wilmoth, believing that she could get the disc. Wilmoth reads it well.
It's a nice fourth throw possession.
Yeah. Reed just outstanding today. You know, I feel like now's an appropriate time for me to tell you that I have played against Reed. She played for Love Tractor, and Love Tractor ruined my team Public Enemy's chance at going to nationals last year, and Reed was a huge part of that. So I can say that I personally understand what Carleton is feeling right now. She's an incredibly difficult person to game plan against.
I was wondering if I wasn't going to bring that up. I was wondering if you were going to go there.
Took me all broadcast.
The nightmares that have haunted you since October in the fall.
No, certainly not better when you're playing someone as talented as Reed.
It's not like you're getting burned by like a 19-year-old freshman, and she's a 26-year-old grad student now, so. Yeah. I don't know if that's any consolation. There's always this fall.
There's always this fall.
Folks out there wondering, has Megan retired and come back again? No, she did not retire after last fall. She retired multiple times in the past, but after a couple children and a very busy life, she still finds the time to lead a top Texas mixed team. Opportunity here for Colorado to close this one out. Williamson off Gaskill's hands, caught by Hecht. Looks like Gaskill called a foul. Unless this was an offensive foul call.
Yeah, it is playing.
This is Colorado's disc either way.
With Hecht catching, the play should just continue.
So it felt like it was my blind side. Do y'all? So it's going to be I mean, the disc is going to stay here, but did you want to?
All right, here we go. Hecht unleashing a big backhand, and it'll be smacked down by Becky Shapiro, Carleton senior from Boston. Into the hands of Earhart. And what a snag by Lily Hurtubise. Without question, one of the catches of the game, and no conservation of greatness there. Hurtubise dishes the goal to Alyssa Earhart to make it 14-11.
Just fabulous wherewithal. Maintains composure against an imposing 6-foot mark. Manages to shape that to Earhart perfectly.
So Colorado will be back on offense with a chance to close out the game. Campana, unfortunately rendered to be just a spectator and supportive teammate here in the second half. So disappointing just for the sport. A look at the 7 on the line for Quandary. 4 years ago, they were Kali. Kali's a Hindi goddess. And they had a Hindu player on the team that basically said, I don't want you yelling out the Hindi goddess all game long. So they respected that, and they turned it over on the first row here. So they rebranded as Quandary, which is one of the 14er mountains in Colorado. Showcased in there. Beautiful new logo. And Carleton convert the break. Nope. Out of the reach of the lengthy Mia Beeman-Weber. Kleinkampf to initiate after the couple turnovers. Pretty good defense. Took her a while to find Quill Phillips. Phillips has a deep target wide open. And then, oh my goodness, Emma Courtright got eaten up by the turf monster.
I think they might have been attempting to milk it as close to the end zone as possible. Unfortunate time to trip. And oh my.
Courtright gets it right back. That's gotta feel really good.
Has to feel so gratifying. Immediate redemption for Courtright.
Okay. Now Colorado shoots it again. Reed is the deep threat. Kristen Reed has Colorado on the brink of another trip to Championship Monday at Division I College Nationals. And that will do it. 15-11. Appropriately, Kristen Reed catches the game clincher, and Colorado's moving on to Monday.
It could not have been a better Sunday for Colorado. Certainly some mistakes to learn from for Colorado in this game, but ultimately, for the vast majority of the game, it felt like exactly the type of contest Colorado wanted to play.
Well, it's interesting. The second women's semifinal will be North Carolina and UC Santa Barbara. Certainly, UNC Pleiades will be a significant favorite going into that game. You never know. But it'll be UNC and Colorado. If Carolina women can win, it'll be UNC Colorado in the men's semi that's coming up next. Colorado Quandary out of the finals. More in a moment. The 2022 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Discraft, home of the UltraStar, the official disc of USA Ultimate, your place for all your ultimate and disc golf needs. Visit discraft.com. We make flying discs fun. And by Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. Victory for Colorado Quandary, 15-11 over Carleton Syzygy. Colorado women are on their way to the championship game. And Ian Toner standing by with Stacey Gaskill.
Thanks so much, Evan. Stacey, you're on the verge of capturing a national championship, but this hasn't been an easy road. Take me back to halftime of the quarterfinals when you're down against Vermont 8-5. What's going through your mind and what's being said in the huddle?
Yeah, I think that was like the tipping point. Like that was our make it or break it for the season. And we got into the huddle and like our goal this season, our goal is to win nationals, as simple as that. And so we had to decide like right there, like we have it in us, we've put in the work to be here. And we're gonna show them that this challenge is what we wanted. And so we came out and we broke all the way to win, to show them, and we played with our hearts. And every person on the team like contributed to that, and like that is really, that's what this team's all about.
Specifically, what was the key to this win against a really talented Carleton Syzygy squad?
I think the key, like we know we have a lot of phenomenal players on our team, but I don't think we play with superstars necessarily. Like every single player on the field is like contributing in a way where nobody has to go above and beyond. And I think that is so important, and like something we are so lucky to have is such a deep team that like everybody can do their role and do it well, and nobody feels the pressure to like make that big play or like do that big thing, because we can do it together. We're better as a team than we are as individuals.
So you don't know who you're facing tomorrow. It's either going to be North Carolina or Cal Santa Barbara. What's your general mindset as you look ahead to potentially capturing a national championship? To us, it doesn't matter who we play. Like when we step on the field, we're Quandary, and we know what that means, and we're going to play that way, and we're going to play with our hearts and with each other.
We apologize for the technical difficulties from an audio standpoint, but it's got a chance to be a really special year for Stacey Gaskill.
Stacey, thanks so much. Go get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow.
In February, she was in China competing for the U.S. Olympic team in snowboards. Here in late May, she'll be battling for a gold medal in college ultimate. There's our Discraft play of the game, presented by Discraft, home of the UltraStar. Megan, a couple impressive grabs. Kristen Reed took a cleat to the head and still scored a half dozen goals in the semifinal.
Yeah, it clearly is going to take more than that to stop her from notching goal after goal.
So Colorado into the championship game. It's amazing how chalky this tournament has been. Will it be the top two seeds in the women's division? Carolina certainly a big favorite, and that would be a fun clash if we get it between Colorado and Carolina tomorrow. But look, UC Santa Barbara Burning Skirts, don't want to discount them. They have some explosive athletes as well. It just feels like we got Colorado, North Carolina, and partly is because that's the next game we got coming up in the men's division with Darkside and Mama Bird. Looking forward to that, but how about Colorado Quandary? They fall behind 2-0, and then they seize control behind Kristen Reed and Stacey Gaskill. Unfortunate injury to Carly Campana. Great season for Carleton, but it ends in the semis. Colorado moving on to the finals. For Megan Tormey and Ian Toner, Evan Lepler saying so long for now. We'll be back with you in less than 30 minutes on ESPN3 as semifinal Sunday continues at Nationals.